get together, we're young again.
Music is the best therapy there is.
It's something that you may not be able to hear 10 years from now.
In our life, we've all had times when we were nearly professional musicians.
We made really good friends. We're all like a family.
We had 7 encores. And we finally said, guys, we can't play anymore. Our lips are gone.
The band plays music from basically the big band era, the 40s and the 50s.
Duke Ellington, Ella Fitzgerald, Glenn Miller, just the greats of the big band era.
It's a lot of old charts from the 1930s and 40s and 50s.
Now this is a dying breed of music because it takes a number of instruments to get the shading that you need for a proper presentation of the music.
And so we just kept that music alive for our parents' generation, for the greatest generation, and it's still wonderful music.
The songs in the big band era are very musical. They're challenging for a musician to play, but they're very memorable.
The old type of music is something if you want to relax and ballroom dance to, something that you see on TV nowadays, you can do that.
Some of the guys say the music today is just noise, you know. Well, that's not really quite true. It's just different.
I think as music progressed, some of the rhythms and some of the chord changes are very similar. Songs sound a lot alike today, but if you play In the Mood, everybody knows that song in the first 2 measures.
It's just music that is really, it's going by the wayside, which is a sad thing.
And even though it's not popular like it was in the 40s, it's still amazing music.
The music of the day is a lot less memorable than that era.
We've all respect the new musicians and what they're trying to do, but we still prefer the big bands of the 40s and 50s.
Dr. Ray Arnsman, a mentor of mine and a man I really respect, retired from being the economics professor at University of Evansville.
At that time, we had a woodwind ensemble and we had a brass ensemble. He said, let's put them together, and he went down to town and bought a book from a friend that had a lot of big band tunes in it.
A lot of the professors at University of Evansville played instruments at one time in their life. So he started this band up just from his friends and acquaintances, and word got out pretty soon, and he filled out an 18-member band.
So we got together and started playing, and wasn't very good at that time. So then as we progressed, it got better and better, and then finally he said, you know, we ought to start playing, and we won't charge, we'll just do it for charity.
Ray was a member of Methodist Temple, and most of the band members were members of Methodist Temple back then. The old Marlinaires and those kind of things, the old names for bands quite often put AIRS on the back of a name, so it became the Temple Airs.
Well, when I was a youngster, I told my father I wanted to play a trombone. He said, no, you've got a saxophone waiting for you right here.
I've always sang since I was on TV at 4 years old, so music is our life.
My brothers played trumpet in front of me in school, so I took up trumpet as well, so I started playing in 6th grade.
There was an Alka-Seltzer commercial in about 1959 that I started singing along with, according to my parents.
Well, I started in 6th grade playing the clarinet. I stayed on that clarinet for years and years.
In high school, I was playing sports and playing band both because band just appealed to me, and I had to choose one between the other. And I had a great band director, Chester Hedgecott. He convinced me that I could learn to play drums, and he taught me well how to play.
There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love.
The fondest memory that I have is that when I got married, it was a band thing. You know, we proposed on a band trip to Kentucky Lake, and when we got married, the band came and played at our reception and things like that, so that's got to be one of my highlights with the band too.
I like making trips to the different towns that we played in to see the type of people that we would play for. Everybody appreciated what we were there doing.
Dr. Ray Arnsman, his ancestors are German. He met his wife, who was also, her family was from the same city. He started going back to Germany on occasions, and he met a fellow by the name of Jurgens, and Ray and he got together, decided that it would be a great idea to bring the band over.
So he acquired a bus for us, and we landed in Amsterdam, and then we toured Germany. We did 5 major concerts over there.
Every town was very appreciative of the sound of the big music, which they didn't have a chance to hear too often.
Then we played for the Osnabrück Festival. There were literally hundreds, if not thousands of people there.
It was their May ceremonial. We set up on their stage, and after we got set up, they came up and asked us to move everything. Now it took us 30, 45 minutes to set up, and we were perplexed. Why would you do this? We soon found that their Mayfest starts out with 3 kegs of beer, and their Mayfest does not start until those kegs are empty.
So the mayor was there, and he untapped it, or I guess tapped the keg, and so they passed around the beer to everybody, and when it was finally empty, then festivities began.
We went back, reset up the band, and we played for them.
The crowds were just unbelievable. We took along our national anthem, and we had the German national anthem. Well, they didn't want to hear their national anthem. They wanted to hear ours. So that's what we did.
A very energetic group. We were really treated well in Germany.
We had 7 encores. And we finally said, guys, we can't play anymore. Our lips are gone.
Closest thing I've ever become to being a rock star. They were chanting USA, USA. It was fantastic.
When we left, we felt like we were part of their family.
The band is there because people want to play in the band. It's a great opportunity. Most everybody who likes big bands would love to play in one. There's just not that many around.
Everything we do now is for charity. So we're usually looking for a not-for-profit situation that is definitely donating to a charitable cause when we perform, and so we are donating our talents to that.
We've raised, I think, between $4 and $5 million for charities. We only play for charitable groups.
I think the band's mission is also to keep music from that era alive. In our life, we've all had times when we were nearly professional musicians, nearly devoted full-time to this passion. And for us, it's about keep those memories and those years alive.
Oh, it's like I get this energy shot in my arm. I mean, it's like, you know how when you go and exercise for a long time and you have this high? Well, that's what I get. I just love it. It's just to sing the wonderful songs and the people that are out there dancing and enjoying themselves. It just makes you feel so wonderful.
Music is the best therapy there is. You know, it does really keep you young. You got to keep up with the latest things, and you got to practice. And I still practice a little bit, not as much as I used to, of course.
Every time I move my arms, it counts as a step. So my wife and I compete on that. I'll come home and say, I've got 10,000 steps. She says, no, you've got 10,000 beats you did on the drums.
What I can tell you is that we're not all spring chickens. Most of us are old seasoned pros or old seasoned musicians that just happen to love what we're doing.
When I had to choose between sports and music, I was a much better musician than I was an athlete, so it was the right decision for me. Plus, you can play music the rest of your life, whereas sports, there's not many people at my age playing football.
Several years ago, we had a sax player, really nice fellow. He said, Kenny, you know, I had the darndest thing. He said, I had a guy call me from Terre Haute, wanted me to come up and play in a 10-piece band up there. And he come back and he said, there was a guy playing lead sax that's 90 years old, and boy, he could really play. He said, that was totally amazing. And we've laughed about that all these years. Here I am at that point.
Having the opportunity to sing with a big band in my lifetime, I never thought as a little girl that I would ever do that. And so when Ron and I was first married, well, I was actually on my way to New York to try to have a career, and he says, well, we'll have singing in our life when we get married. And so this came up, and God has a plan.
It doesn't matter how bad we feel or, you know, which bones are aching this week. When we get together, we're young again. All of us. We're just, we were just like those, teenage kids in the garage band when you're 14 years old. We're together, and the music and our love of the music just makes us. We love to be together, and we love doing what we do.
And if you have a chance to come out and hear us, you wouldn't be disappointed. It's something that you may not be able to hear 10 years from now.